This is ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Why is the federal government now, 16 years later, still withholding that information from the American people?
September 11th, remembering the day and the connection with the Suncoast. Have all the facts been released? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Conan. Welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on the Sarasota connection to 9/11 in a moment, but first, our top 7 stories at 7. And we begin tonight in North Bradenton, where just like all over the Suncoast, folks are picking up the pieces, down trees, down branches, slowly picking up the pieces of their lives and still hoping the power comes on soon. ABC 7's Rick Adams joins us with more.
Well, I'm here on 3rd Avenue Northwest in Bradenton, where folks are still cleaning up from this huge mess. As you can see back there, there are a lot of downed power lines up and down the street, causing a lot of headaches for the residents who live here and a lot of widespread power outages. Another big issue here are the uprooted trees. As you can see, just around this neighborhood, the uprooted trees, and there was a generator just running there, and it just ran out, so hopefully they can get that generator up and running. That's one of the only ways that these folks can get power through that generator that's back there. And as we walk back here, you'll see an amazing sight, a tree that just came crashing down. Look at this. Came crashing down through the gate. And to the neighbor right next door, it crashed to the lanai and kind of crushed it. So amazing sights here. As you can see, Hurricane Irma has certainly left her mark on the area. Reporting from Bradenton, I'm Rick Adams. Back to you.
Thanks, Rick. If there is one thing Floridians need more than power, it is gas. And the state is doing everything it can to ensure gas stations get gas. The Florida Highway Patrol has 20 troopers dedicated to fuel escorts from ports all over Florida to impacted areas as soon as ports open. Governor Rick Scott waived the tax on fuel entering the state. The Environmental Protection Agency approved an emergency fuel waiver allowing more fuel to enter the state quickly. School kids on the Suncoast won't be returning to class this week. This afternoon, the Sarasota County School District announced schools will be closed for the rest of the week. The Manatee County School District announced yesterday schools will also be closed for the rest of the week. Part of the reason because a lot of schools are still without power and because schools served as shelters during the storm. There is still some cleanup to be done. Manatee County is beginning to assess the damage from Irma. Wastewater pump stations aren't working in areas without power. People are being asked not to flush toilets, not to take showers or do laundry until their power comes back on. A boil water notice is still in place for Anna Maria Island residents until Thursday. Manatee County also asks you to call the Citizens Information Line to report damages and to ask for non-emergency help. Manatee County homeowners should also call their homeowners insurance company to file a claim for property damage. There are still scattered power outages across the area. Florida Power and Light is working to restore electricity as quickly as possible. There are 300 crews from across the country. Texas, Louisiana, South Carolina, all here helping Florida Power and Light restore power to the Suncoast. In Sarasota, approximately 114,000 homes are still without power. In Manatee County, there are more than 72,000 without power. Florida Power and Light says they are working diligently to make sure everyone receives power, but it will take time. Now let's head over to Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan with the first alert forecast. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. The 185-mile-an-hour storm is now just a 10-mile-an-hour storm. That is it. It is a tropical remnant low of Irma. It is now drying out, too, a little bit. We're seeing some dry air move in from the Gulf of Mexico, so some good news finally from this storm. I think this is pretty much the last advisory. It's moving into the western portion of Tennessee right now and still bringing some rainfall there, but not a lot. This is the motion it's actually moving faster than the winds are. The winds are out of the northwest, I should say the motion is to the northwest at 20. It has 10-mile-an-hour winds and the pressure at 1,004 millibars. Well, the forecast path and track take it off to the northwest and then eventually to the northeast into Illinois. And it looks as though it will still bring some rain, but not a lot. The chance for any kind of significant flooding is starting to wind down with this system where the center is, but still it's flooding near South Carolina, North Georgia, and into parts of Tennessee. For us, flooding is a big issue right there at the Peace River, just north of Arcadia. There's 60 homes that are flooded as a result of the flood stage now being at 11, and it's actually the current stage is at 17.2. It's supposed to go to 18.2 by Friday, so you can get the picture. Major flooding taking place along the Peace River into Arcadia right there. Now, as far as our current conditions go, finally some nice weather around, 82 degrees, and the dew point temperature is at 72, and winds are out of the southwest at 6. The pressure slowly rising. We will get back into those afternoon and evening storms fairly soon. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Jose and see if anything else is out there coming up in a few minutes. Alan?
Thanks, Bob. As Bob just said, one community hit particularly hard by Hurricane Irma, Arcadia in DeSoto County. Strong winds, heavy rain equals serious damage. Janelle Ford joins us live now from Arcadia. Janelle.
Yeah, we're here on the westbound corridor of Highway 70 where a massive sinkhole has caused quite the issue for traffic in this area. Now, currently there's roadblocks set up and there's detours. Much traffic is coming down this way only to realize that they have to turn around and take a different route because the sinkhole is so massive. Now, currently the sinkhole stretches across the entire roadway. Looking down into it, it looks like it's about 10 feet deep. There is a little bit of water down in that area, and then on top of it just taking up the full length of this road, it also goes into the grassy area on the side and sleeps down underneath the sidewalk as well. Now, earlier today I was speaking with the police chief here in Arcadia. He says this is one of the big issues, but another issue, like you guys said earlier during weather, is the flooding over in this area. Now, also, we were over in the historic district earlier today where a possible tornado ripped off the roof, and crews are working right now to clean up that area as well. Now, the police chief does tell me that there is currently a curfew for Arcadia. It's lasting from 9 a.m. until 6 a.m. in the morning, and residents we've been speaking to here are just looking for a bit of relief. They say they've tried to reach out to FEMA, and FEMA's told them that at this time, there's nothing that they can do for this area. So they're just looking for a way to bounce back from the wrath that Irma left here. We'll give you more updates as we get them, but for now we're reporting live here in Arcadia. Janelle Fort, back to you, Alan.
Janelle, thank you. Still to come, we look back at the connection between the terrorist attacks on September 11th and Sarasota. Stay with us.
I am powerful beyond my wildest imagination.
I will define my future.
I will keep challenging myself to improve.
Because I am a future leader of this great nation.
I will make a difference in my community.
I will not settle for simply chasing my dreams. I will achieve them.
Because I was given a chance.
An opportunity.
At Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America.
The ultimate leadership experience.
Join us. We'll build a new future together.
Attention, Americans eligible for Medicare. Are you getting all the benefits you're entitled to? Did you know there may be money available to lower your medical prescription costs? Call Health Markets and we'll tell you if you qualify.
Hi, I'm Dr. Martin Jeetsi. It's a new Medicare year. That means more changes and more confusion. The key question is, what can you do now to ensure you get the care you need in the coming year?
Call Health Markets today. You may qualify to save money on prescriptions. We'll help you find plans that may cost less, cover more, and could even lower your prescription costs to increase your savings. We help you find all the benefits you're entitled to, and we do it at no cost.
Make sure you have what you need to get the care that's right for you.
Find out if you qualify to receive extra help with your prescriptions. Call the number on the screen now. Representatives are standing by.
This is the story of a boy who was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
We asked you, Suncoast, why do you like ABC7?
I like ABC7 because it's local. It gives me all the local news.
The local news, local weather.
It's so local and so community-driven.
Kelly Wilgus does a great job.
John Scalzi, that's my guy.
Bob Harrigan is wonderful. Stephanie's my favorite.
I like Scott Dennis. I like them all.
We're all very grateful that you cover what you do and you're here to participate with the community.
ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you. Get breaking news alerts focused on the Suncoast. Download the ABC7 News app.
We had our hands full yesterday, and the 16th anniversary of the 9/11 because of Irma. But we do remember, and we do recall, and as Adam Cellini reports, we still have unanswered questions about the Sarasota connection to the September 11th attacks.
Great to meet everybody.
On September 11th, 2001, President George Bush infamously took this phone call in a classroom at Sarasota's Emma E. Booker Elementary, informing him America was under attack. Nearby, FBI Special Agent Leo Martinez was taking calls too about suspicious activity on the Suncoast.
There were hundreds. And I'm talking about Sarasota, specific to Sarasota, there were hundreds of leads.
Martinez retired from the FBI in 2013 after nearly 26 years and still works in the area as a private investigator with the Executive Assessment Group. He and others spent months investigating 9/11 locally, thanks to one lead that came in almost the same day the towers fell.
The most important call probably came around midnight of September 11th when I got a call from Washington, D.C. and said they wanted to direct us over to Huffman Aviation in Venice.
Huffman Aviation is where 3 hijackers, including the pilot of the first plane to hit, learned to fly. But one lead, which Martinez was never assigned, was their connection to a Saudi family in Sarasota's Prestancia community. Abdulaziz Al-Hiji and his wife left their home and personal belongings just days before the attack.
Very short time, maybe 3 days after she had given birth, they were gone.
A fellow FBI agent found many connections between the family and the 9/11 hijackers, stated in a report uncovered in a 2012 Freedom of Information Act lawsuit by the South Florida news organization Florida Bulldog. The heavily redacted 35-page report is still all we know about what the FBI found there.
We're trying to open up more documentation so we can see for ourselves what happened here.
Today, the Florida Bulldog is in 2 more lawsuits against the FBI. In July, U.S. District Court Judge Cecilia Altanaga demanded the Bureau release more details from a 2014 presentation to the 9/11 Review Commission. But anything involving Sarasota remains under wraps. Judge William Zlock has been harder on the FBI, making the Tampa office turn over 80,000 pages of classified documents. Zlock has spent the last 3 years reviewing those documents, which could fill in the blanks about what was found in Prestancia.
Judge Locke was critical of the FBI, so we have faith that he's doing what he's what he's supposed to be doing and reviewing these all in good faith with an eye towards deciding what can be released.
People like former Florida Governor and U.S. Senator Bob Graham believe the case would show Saudi Arabia secretly aided this terrorist plot. But Martinez doesn't believe it's a reason his former employer would hide this information. Martinez did have a brush with the case 2 years after 9/11 when a terrorism suspect wished to trade information on the hijackers for a lighter sentence.
He provided some information relative to some Sarasota, Prestancia activities. It was more about the hijackers.
He passed it along to his superiors, and it never again crossed his desk. Perhaps it's among those 80,000 pages of documents that some hope can close the book on the Suncoast's sordid legacy with 9/11. In Sarasota, Adam Cellini, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
Coming up, we remember 9/11 with those who were there, and an extraordinary interview with former Florida Senator Bob Graham, still searching for answers about the connection between Sarasota and the 9/11 hijackers.
When you want to get away from it all, to a place where you can do everything, or nothing at all, surrounded by natural beauty and all the modern amenities you might desire, then you'll want to be here at the Wanna Be Inn on the beautiful shores of Manasota Key, Florida. To plan your escape, log on to wannabeinn.com.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
If you're only hungry for a slice of apple pie, why buy the whole pie?
And you certainly wouldn't want to pay for an all-you-can-eat buffet. So if you don't use your cell phone that much, why get charged for a plan that's too big, or even an unlimited plan? Luckily, there's still a wireless company that shares your values. Welcome to Consumer Cellular. Our average customer pays about $25 a month for everything they need. Many pay even less, as plans start at just $10 a month. You'll get a straightforward bill that's easy to understand, with no surprises, and all the attention you deserve from our friendly customer service team. No wonder Consumer Cellular has received J.D. Power Awards for highest customer service. Plus, if you're an AARP member, you'll receive special discounts. It's easy to switch. You can even keep your phone and your number. So stop paying for more than you need and start your 30-day risk-free trial today. Call 800-457-2317, go online, or visit a Target store today.
Because my parents told me I have to be responsible.
Because my first coach told me, you can do this.
Because my boss showed me how to do a good job.
Because my teacher helped me see the choices.
I'm swimming faster than I ever dreamed.
I am a valuable employee.
I discovered that I could work as an artist.
I will be whatever I want to be.
Youth with disabilities should grow up expecting to work and succeed. For more information, visit whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
If you're looking for a rewarding job you'll love, good news. The perfect job is just a click away. Go to mysuncoast.com/job of the day. It's that easy. Stop searching and go to mysuncoast.com/job of the day to find the perfect job for you.
Welcome back. We had an obligation yesterday to report on the Suncoast recovery from Hurricane Irma, but let us never forget yesterday was also September 11th. In New York, at Ground Zero, the names of those lost that day were read out loud, as they are every year. Ceremonies as well at the Pentagon and at Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Joining us for more is former Sarasota Police Chief Pete Abbott, who is the executive officer to New York's Deputy Police Commissioner at the time, and Norm Schimmel, who worked so hard and so tirelessly on the Sarasota 9/11 Memorial. Both of you were in New York City on 9/11.
Close to.
As I was covering for ABC in Connecticut. Pete, just remind viewers, what were you doing at the time? What was the first moment you knew that something was terribly wrong?
Earlier in the morning, about 8:45 or 8:46, there was a big commotion on the police commissioner's side of police headquarters. And I was on the top floor on the other side, and usually very quiet over there, so I ran through the connecting door to see what was going on. And you could see the smoke pouring out of the North Tower. So I grabbed my stuff, and I said, look, I'm going to just run over. It was faster to run than to drive, and see what's going on. I'll connect with Manhattan South Borough, and we'll let you know what's going on as soon as we get there. Because it was a clear day. It was kind of weird that a plane would go in without a cloud in the sky. I got close to the site, and then this big explosion, which was the second plane, and then that's when I knew it was not going to be a good day, because there was no accident at that point.
Norm, where were you?
Believe it or not, I was in Bono, Arkansas, listening to Mike and Mike in the morning. And
you New Yorkers will know exactly what Norm is talking about.
Yeah, Memphis, and drove all night to get back. But in listening to them, they said a plane has hit the tower, and like an accident, and all of a sudden they said a second plane has hit, and then they switched back to the network. I got into a car and never stopped driving, and my first sight was on the Jersey Turnpike of it. I can't even tell you how many hours I drove. I drove straight back. I was there. I got through the tunnel before they closed the tunnel off, and it's just more and more and more.
Point of personal reflection, I remember driving to work and hearing on News 88, traffic reporter Tom Kaminsky saying a small plane went into the tower, and I was sent directly there. I was by noontime. In fact, one of the buildings collapsed behind me as I was going live later in the day. Peter, 16 years later, have you had enough time to really, coalesce in terms of what you remember and what you want people to remember about, let's say, how New York responded that day?
I think it's very timely. You saw just recently what happened in Texas and what happened here in Florida and what happened in New York. All divisions between, whatever persuasion or political or whatever, it doesn't matter. When America becomes the target of something God created or man-made, people come together, and that's what I think is the most important thing. People really shine in those moments.
Norm, Pete makes an incredible point, because in so many ways right now it seems like our country is pulling apart, but when natural disasters like this take place, or man-made disasters like 9/11 take place, it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat.
Nothing to do with it.
And tell us, with the time we have left here, in terms of the Sarasota Memorial, I mean, it was different this year, but it's so important to so many people around here.
Well, unfortunately, we had to cancel because of the hurricane itself, but about 7 years ago, Commissioner Outwell and Shore, myself, the police department, the first responders, the sheriff, and everything decided to have a memorial ceremony. There are retired fire people here. There's retired first responders here, too. And it has grown very, very much. Unfortunately, it was canceled this year, but it will be done in 2 weeks. And so every year, I go to New York. I'll be in New York on Friday, and I do a shooting, and we present a framed canvas, which is then unveiled and mounted into one of the federal buildings.
That's incredible. We are just getting warmed up. We'll have much more on 9/11 and an extraordinary interview with former Florida Senator Bob Graham right after we check First Alert Weather, so stay with us.
It's Lincoln's summer sales event here at Alex Karras Lincoln. Drive a brand new 2017 Lincoln MKC Sport Utility for $269 per month, or a 2017 MKZ for $299 per month. We have a great selection of certified pre-owned Lincolns. These vehicles have warranties up to 100,000 miles and come with complimentary roadside assistance. Alex Karras Lincoln, affordable luxury, winner of the prestigious 2015 President's Award, serving Florida's Sun Coast since 1978. We're located 2 miles north of the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport on US 41.
You love your couch and want to protect it from spills, food, and scratching, shedding pets. Introducing Couch Coat, the reversible, washable quilted cover that protects your couch. Shield against spills. Wow! Stop stains and dirty pet paws and sharp claws. Plus, it's reversible with 2 stylish colors. Guaranteed to fit any couch up to 92 inches or your money back. It even has covers to protect armrests. Machine washable too.
My grandkids destroy everything, but with Couch Coat, my couch is always protected, looking as good as it did the day I bought it.
Get your Couch Coat for just $19.99, and it's reversible in brown and cream, like 2 couch coats for the price of 1. Order right now, and you can double your offer. Get a second Couch Coat. Just pay a separate fee. Order right now.
Call 1-800-943-0710 to get your couch coat. Call now or go to couchcoat.com. So call 1-800-943-0710. That's 1-800-943-0710. Call now.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Our conversation continues right after we get a check on the First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrington. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. More pictures coming in to pics at mysuncoast.com. We showed this one earlier, but I want to show it again. The Meadows, this one from Mike, Missouri. This is pretty significant damage on those cars. Some of that carport fell on top of them as the strong winds moved through. By the way, the highest gust 92 just off of Anna Maria Island, and basically sustained winds anywhere from 50 up to 67 miles an hour were reported up and down the coast. Sarasota Springs, Brittany, good look at that, Brittany Brewski sending that photo in, hitting the house. That's the big danger, these trees falling. Typical of it, the winds I just mentioned, trees uprooted, you have awnings ripped off, you have also at times, you can get some minor structural damage, but not major, and fences also torn apart like mine that I've been fixing all day today. 21st Avenue West Braden. And that's why I want to show this picture, is because the driving's still a little bit shaky out there, folks. So if you don't have to drive anywhere, I'd stick where you are, because there are some road closures, lights are still out across the area, and it looks as though this alligator right here is now on a trail down in Northport. Stacy's sending that one. You just barely see the head of the gator right in front of that sign in the middle of the screen. So yeah, the critters come out in this situation because they get a little bit more real estate. Water temperatures. This is an interesting graphic. These tell the actual water temperatures of what's happening out there. And we still have a long way to go before the hurricane season is over. And this is actually fuel for hurricanes. Look at this little coloration right here. You can see this discoloration here, a little brighter red that you see as we move on through, and right up here, and then right near Cuba, and then right toward Key West. Well, all throughout this region, temperatures just before Irma moved through were 89, 90 degrees. And that's what they do. They cool things down. You can see that 84, 85, 82 degrees right there near the Bahamas, 83 right in the path of Irma. So that's what they do. They cool the water temperature down. They disperse the heat. If we didn't have hurricanes, the water temperatures would just keep getting higher and higher, up to 90, 95, and 100. So these things do their work. They cool things down a little bit. Look at this. This is what it was before, 89. You know, it didn't get down into Cuba, or down in the Caribbean at least, and it's still very warm there. And it's still warm out here in the Gulf of Mexico. Well, the rain is not very intense across the southeast, but what it is, it's moving in a northwesterly direction to the southeast of us, I should say. This moisture will slowly sink back into our weather picture beginning Thursday, so we have another good day for cleanup tomorrow. No storms around, have to worry about any lightning out there, and it'll be on the warm side, but we should be able to manage that. We're not going to see any excessive heat indices tomorrow. The live sweep of the radar showing clear conditions. And the good news on Irma, it's no longer a storm. There's no more advisories, and just an area of low pressure that continues to spin off to the northwest. But look at all the dry air that has come in from the Gulf of Mexico. And there's still some flooding there in the Carolinas, South Carolina particularly, but at least it's drier air, and they don't expect any more rainfall. Clear tonight, 77 by 11, so it will be warm for those folks out there with no air. Heat index 87 degrees right now. It's 82. Southwest winds are at 6. And the high today was 86, the normal 89. And boy, we are ahead on the rain. Look at that on the bottom right point. Yearly total, 15.47 above average. We're already at 57.40 inches. Temperatures across the state generally into the low 80s, upper 80s in Miami. Boat and beach forecast looks like this. Southeast winds at 10 knots out there. Seas will be running around on 2 feet, and a light chop on the bays and inland waters. The water temperature has cooled here too. Before the storm was 89, now it's 83. West, actually the UV index will be at 10. Here's the extended forecast quickly for you. Things looking good tomorrow. A chance for showers on Thursday, better on Friday, and the weekend looks to be real nice. I think golf is in the weekend for me. Alan will be right back after this.
Attention, Americans eligible for Medicare. Are you getting all the benefits you're entitled to? Did you know there may be money available to lower your medical prescription costs? Call Health Markets and we'll tell you if you qualify.
Hi, I'm Dr. Martin Jeetsi. It's a new Medicare year. That means more changes and more confusion. The key question is, what can you do now to ensure you get the care you need in the coming year?
Call Health Markets today. You may qualify to save money on prescriptions. We'll help you find plans that may cost less, cover more, and could even lower your prescription costs to increase your savings. We help you find all the benefits you're entitled to, and we do it at no cost.
Make sure you have what you need to get the care that's right for you.
Find out if you qualify to receive extra help with your prescriptions. Call the number on the screen now. Representatives are standing by.
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. Dietary Guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
I am the resident district manager on the FAU campus for Chartwell. Whenever I see Haley, I do not see a person with a disability. I see a person with extraordinary abilities. Haley is always smiling. She's always on time. She gives fantastic customer service and is always focused on any job that she's given.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Once you get atrial fibrillation, you need to have a very close relationship with your primary doctor. Prevention is the whole ball game here, because once you have a stroke, you can't undo it. A year without stroke, it's a year that you can enjoy doing the things that you've worked all your life to finally get to do. You took care of yourself. You did what is necessary for you to be around one more year. And then next year, we'll celebrate one more year without a stroke.
Welcome back, everyone. Perhaps no one has worked harder at getting to the bottom of 9/11, specifically the Sarasota connection to 9/11, than former U.S. Senator Bob Graham, who was the co-chair of Congress's investigation into what happened. Senator Graham joins us right now from Miami Lakes. And Senator, if you could refresh our viewers' memories in terms of what is the issue in terms of the family, the Saudi family that lived here in Sarasota, and their connection to the 9/11 hijackers.
Immediately after 9/11, a number of the neighbors around this home in Prestancia called the FBI and said that there had been some suspicious activity around this home. Some of them even saw pictures of the 19 hijackers and thought some of those were people that they had seen at that home. That started a 6 months FBI investigation. A report that said there were many connections between the family living in that house and 3 of the 19 hijackers who were doing their flight training near Sarasota. The FBI kept that information away from the public. In fact, it even issued a public statement to the fact that there were no connections between the hijackers and the family living in Prestancia. Finally, a federal judge demanded that the FBI release documents which had previously been classified for his review. He has had those now for over 3 years and has not yet rendered an opinion as to which of those 80,000 pages can be made public. So in a nutshell, that's where it is now.
What do you suspect is in those 80 pages of documents?
I don't like to engage in speculation because this is a situation where there are going to be known facts. It's just that at this time, the public has not been given access to those known facts. But I think some of the areas that will be covered would be what were the nature of the contacts between the Saudi family and the 3 hijackers. There seems to be good evidence from things like the gate records taken at the entrance to Prestancia that there were a number of contacts made. Was this Saudi family involved, for instance, in providing financial support for the 3 hijackers? The family left their home in what were described as urgent conditions: new car in the front yard, clothes in the washer, food on the table, and fled back to Saudi Arabia approximately 10 days before 9/11. Why did they leave? What were the persons or events that caused them to feel that they would better be in Saudi Arabia than Sarasota on September the 11th, 2001?
Of course, the Florida Bulldog, which is an investigative reporting organization based in South Florida, has filed a Freedom of Information lawsuit to try to get access to those pages. You have been supportive of it. Earlier this summer, a federal judge said that the FBI has not deceived anybody in terms of holding back information of the information in terms of the 80 pages out there and what's in it. Are you disappointed by that, and how much more difficult does that make to finding answers?
Well, the facts are a little bit challenging here. The Sarasota investigation is still in the hands of the federal judge to whom the 80,000 pages of documents were delivered. We're waiting for his determination of how many of those are going to be released, and then can find out what was in those documents. There's another instance in which the FBI had largely established a three-person commission known as the Meese Commission, after a man who had been a former Attorney General, Ed Meese, to evaluate how well the FBI had responded post 9/11. The documents of that commission have been classified, particularly a portion of that commission's work where it dug into the Sarasota situation. It was our feeling that if we could get the materials from that commission, that would be another insight into what happened in Sarasota. It was that situation where a second federal judge ruled initially that the FBI should be required to release much of that information. Then in a subsequent order, in a more limited basis, required release. So we know more about Sarasota than we did a year ago, but there's a lot that we don't know.
The Congress signed or voted for a resolution supporting the release of this information. It was opposed by the Obama administration. The question is obvious in terms of why wouldn't even the Obama administration not want this information to be released to the public?
That is an enigma. With the Bush administration, you can think of several possible reasons why it would want to withhold information. The one that's most persuasive to me is the Bush administration decided that it wanted a war with Iraq. That was before 9/11. 9/11 became the pretense for going to war with Iraq. And as the informations started to flow into the CIA and the FBI, indicating that Iraq actually had nothing to do with 9/11, but Saudi Arabia was deeply involved in the build-up to and execution of the plot. The response of the administration was to essentially hide all the information about the Saudis' involvement. That's the best explanation of how we started this process of what I call aggressive deception, telling the American people one thing in the public, but in private, withholding the information that could refute what was being said publicly. Why the Obama administration continued that, to me, is a mystery.
What do you think the chances are that the Trump administration will do a 180 on this? After all, President Trump has not been shy about taking shots at just about anyone around the world, with one notable exception, the Saudi government. He was in Saudi Arabia a couple of months ago. Do you think there's any chance that that President Trump will reverse the position of the Obama administration and the Bush administration before it?
I hope so, and as a candidate, he indicated that he was going to be more forthcoming. As a New Yorker, where, of course, most of the affected families were from the New York region, he probably had personal contacts with widows, parents, and others who lost a loved one at 9/11. Hopefully, he will direct his agencies to be much more forthcoming, starting with the FBI. But as you said, his first foreign visit was to Saudi Arabia, and it was a love fest. And whether that indicates that, in fact, he's going to continue this policy of covering up for the Saudis and engaging in telling the public, knowing that there were contradictory facts in their own classified files, is something we'll find out, I hope, in the next few months.
Finally, we have less than a minute left, Senator, but what is the essential question that you would like to see answered, not only about 9/11, but Sarasota's connection to it?
I think the essential question is and has been, did these 19 people, most of whom didn't speak English, had never been to the United States before, didn't have a particularly strong educational background, did they carry out this highly complex plot alone, or did they have help? I think the logic of the matter indicates that they could not have done this without some assistance. Who provided that assistance? What was the nature of that assistance? Why is the federal government now, 16 years later, still withholding that information from the American people? Those are what I think are the central questions remaining for 9/11.
Senator Bob Graham, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll be back in just a moment.
When you want to get away from it all, to a place where you can do everything, or nothing at all, surrounded by natural beauty and all the modern amenities you might desire, then you'll want to be here at the Wannabe Inn on the beautiful shores of Manasota Key, Florida. To plan your escape, log on to wannabeinn.com.
Attention blood thinner users. If your loved one took Xarelto or Pradaxa and suffered serious internal bleeding, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. The widely prescribed blood thinners Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to a number of dangerous side effects, including internal bleeding, gastrointestinal bleeding, kidney bleeding, stroke, brain hemorrhaging, and even death. If you or a loved one suffered any of these injuries after taking Xarelto or Pradaxa, call right now. You may be owed significant compensation from the manufacturer. Thousands of blood thinner users may have been exposed to serious risk by these dangerous medications. If you or a loved one took Xarelto or Pradaxa and suffered serious internal bleeding, call right now. Call Nightline Legal to speak with an experienced attorney for a free consultation. If we don't win, there is no fee. There are time deadlines to file a claim, so don't wait. Call right now.
Call 1-800-554-3987. Again, that's 1-800-554-3987.
All hands on deck. What's up? I want to point out 3 tips for using the home computer more safely. Point away.
First, stop. Make sure your software is up to date and that you've password protected your computer's login and Wi-Fi connection.
Next, think before visiting a site, opening attachments, or clicking on links.
Then connect, knowing you're helping make the web safer for you
and for everyone. Make Stop, Think, Connect part of your daily online routine.
Enjoy some of the best Suncoast restaurants on me. Just go to mysuncoast.com/dining, sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already, and you can win a $50 gift card to a restaurant in our area. We'll pick a winner each week, so go on our website and sign up now.
Our guests join us right now for final thoughts on September 11th. Pete, do you still talk regularly with people that you were with on that day in New York City?
I do. I've talked to the former First Deputy Commissioner Joe Dunn. We pretty much make that a date on the calendar where we just talk to each other. Gary McCarthy, who was recently the police superintendent in Chicago, we were together that day. John Odermatt just happened to call me today. He was the emergency operations chief. Just folks that we went through this together.
Let me ask you a quick question. What Bob Graham and so many others are trying to do in terms of finding out what the Sarasota connection was to the hijackers, do you think it's really important to get to the bottom of that?
Well, I think the truth is important, and if the FBI is redacting and not sharing that information, I would imagine is one of 2 reasons. One, there's a political reason, or 2, there is a national security reason. Maybe somebody would be revealed in those papers that is situated in a place where they're doing good work for the American people.
Norma, I want to ask you the same question because you are a native New Yorker and you are now a longtime Sarasota resident, and so many crucial parts of this story happen in Sarasota and the Suncoast. Do you think it's important to find out what there is to find out?
I think in a way it's important just for the sake of history itself, and quite honestly, my strife is a little different or a little more important. And the evening of 9/11, my mother called me, 95 years old, and she simply said to me that my generation had just experienced their Pearl Harbor somewhat closer to home. I have a fear that we're forgetting December 7th, and what I'd like to make sure of is that we don't forget 9/11. And
Right.
that's my thrust.
You know, you said that the memorial is 2 weeks delayed. because of the events of this past week, but you're committed to doing this every single year and making sure that Sarasota residents don't forget.
Absolutely, positively, we remember everything involved. We remember the people. We remember the first responders. The way New Yorkers came together, like no one could ever figure that they could do, and it was a time of true unity. Just unity. That's the word.
You know what would set me off in those days is when I was in Lower Manhattan and I would see an ambulance from my hometown, Pearl River, just up the road, but also seeing first responders from as far away from Florida and California.
Yeah, they were wonderful. And if you saw, by the way, if you saw a first responder, you brought a bottle of water. It was just...
Absolutely. We have to leave it there. FYI, you can watch past discussions. They're on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. We want to thank all our guests for being here tonight. Former Florida Senator Bob Graham, former Sarasota Police Chief Pete Abbott, who was a deputy for the executive officer for the Deputy Commissioner in New York City, and Norm Schimmel, who has worked so tirelessly on the Sarasota 9/11 Memorial. When we return, we'll have a final look at your first alert weather, plus we'll take a look at the aftermath of Hurricane Irma. Stay with us.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
So you've decided to go to college. That's cool. So pop quiz. Which is a better way to earn your degree? Commute to college and fill your gas tank, get stuck in traffic, drive in bad weather, try to find a parking space, walk a half-mile to class, or learn online at Independence University. In the park on a bench, on the beach on a towel, or on your couch with your kid, your campus is wherever you want it to be. You don't go to college. College goes to you. That's independence. That's Independence University. You schedule classes around your schedule, and all your supplies, including a brand new laptop and tablet, are included with tuition. At Independence U, you'll learn from professional instructors with real work experience. You'll get personal support in school and employment assistance when you graduate. Get your degree, but keep your life. That's independence. That's Independence University. So if you're really smart, you'd call now.
Call 1-800-319-0237.
Independence U, for an independent you.
Call 1-800-319-0237.
I heard about the Dotoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was and some additional cancers that were not found during the biopsy. I would recommend the Dotoli Cancer Center. As a group of human beings, they are unbelievably great.
It's rainy season on the Suncoast. Storms can pop up at a moment's notice. Sometimes it's just rain. Sometimes it's much worse. When severe weather strikes, trust ABC7 First Alert Weather. We're here for you.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but first, we want to get to a story that was kind of lost with the Irma hurricane coverage, and that is a report that you might be one of 143 million consumers whose sensitive personal information was exposed in a data breach at Equifax. And what does this all mean and what we can do to better protect our personal information? We are joined by Jerry Zivic, our own ABC7 consumer watchdog. Jerry, with the impending hurricane, this really kind of, at least in this part of the country, kind of took a second seat, but this is incredibly serious.
You're really right. Talk about piling it on or getting kicked in the face. Here we've had all of this Irma to worry about, and now we have basically a hurricane in our financial situations. 143 million Americans have had their data possibly hacked. People's names, social security numbers, credit card numbers, birth dates. This will be out there for 20, 30 years.
There are a number of key questions out there, and I'll tell our viewers in advance, you're not going to like the answers to any of them. And one of them would be is, can you find out for sure if you are one of the hundreds of thousands of people whose information is now in the hands of the hackers?
Absolutely not. Equifax has a link on their website that you can type in your name, the last 6 digits of your social security number, and they'll tell you if you're part of this breach. Well, that's really not helpful. They can't tell you if your data is being used, if a criminal is using it, and this can go out 15, 20 years. 20 years from now, somebody can be applying for a mortgage in your name, and can you trace it to this event? I don't know.
And it's not like you could just stop using Equifax.
No, we don't have a choice. We don't sign up for Equifax. We're really not the consumer of Equifax. It's the people that provide credit to us is really Equifax's customers. So Equifax is really not all that concerned about us. They want to retain the people that they sell their services to.
So the obvious question is, what are you to do now?
Well, I analogize it to a health situation. You monitor your health, you have to monitor your financial situation. I would recommend that everybody go to the 3 different credit companies, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, and tell them that they want a fraud monitoring on their accounts. That way, if somebody is trying to open up an account in their name, then you'll be notified. Don't use a credit freeze, because that makes it very difficult for you to use your credit then.
Well, how likely is it for these companies to comply with that? I know privately a lot of companies are telling people, we understand the seriousness of this, we are going to put a credit monitoring on your accounts, but is that happening often enough?
Bottom line is, you have to be your own internet security officer. If you don't like reviewing your credit card statements, you better learn to like to do it, or hire somebody to do it. If you don't like reviewing your bank statements, you better start to do it. It's your responsibility. To rely upon anybody else is probably a huge mistake.
I don't know if you can answer this question, but I'll ask it anyway. Is Equifax going to survive this?
Well, what's interesting, I don't know if you picked up on this, their highest placed stockholders knew about this before we knew about this. Equifax sat on this for 40 days before the public knew, and it's dropped 20% in its value, but they managed to dump a lot of their shares.
That sounds like somebody should be investigating that.
The SEC will.
All right, thanks a lot, Jerry. Jerry Zivic joins us every other Tuesday in our For-Your Benefit segment. Stay tuned. Our primetime headlines are next. Stay with us.
This is an important medical announcement. Bard IVC filters have been linked to punctured veins and problems with migration. Anyone who's received a Bard IVC filter must receive medical monitoring and may be entitled to substantial compensation. If you have the Bard Recovery G2 or G2 Express filter, you are in a class of patients who should be compensated for some expenses. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. This call is confidential. There's no cost and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to people who should have been warned about the risks of the Bard IVC filters. Call the IVC Filter Hotline if you or a loved one has received an IVC filter and experienced a vein puncture or required medical monitoring. You must call now.
Call 800-329-3089. 800-329-3089.
This is an important announcement. If you're between 50 and 85 and worried about your loved ones, you can still get affordable life insurance for peace of mind.
My life insurance coverage is guaranteed, and I was not required to get a medical exam.
I had high blood pressure and diabetes, and I got my coverage with one telephone call. No exam necessary.
I'm a smoker, and I wanted to take care of my family. I called to get my life insurance and my affairs in order. I wanted to do the right thing.
Call Final Expense No Exam Insurance. Your rates are guaranteed and will never increase.
I called and learned that this insurance cannot be canceled even if you get sick or gain weight.
And there are no restrictions on how my beneficiaries use the money when I'm gone.
Approval was easy and the price was right. I wanted to do this for my children.
Call 800-738-9812. 800-738-9812.
We've all heard how military veterans adjusting to the civilian world may have certain issues.
30. 78.
If only everyone had this issue. No matter what challenge they face, Easter Seals is here for America's veterans.
Checking our primetime headlines today, some Florida residents are finally returning home, and for many finding out whether there's anything to return to. Millions are still without power, water, or even basic services. And in the Caribbean, where Irma's wrath was at its most furious, the situation grows more dire by the day. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez is reporting from Naples.
The start to this literal long road to recovery in the Florida Keys, covered in sand and seaweed, lined with shipwrecked boats. The first evacuees now returning, many to find the kind of utter destruction they feared. Neighborhoods flattened, businesses badly damaged, no cell phone service, electricity, or running water.
I mean, it's like everybody just tipped everything over. You're just praying that everybody's alive.
The Caribbean coping with worse after Hurricane Irma. New images from St. Martin capturing just a glimpse of the catastrophe.
Almost everything is broken down. For our need, we need water and food. It's not now, maybe it's for sure. Water and food, we don't have that.
Some Americans rescued from the islands now stranded in Florida. Airports here finally starting to function, flights selling out fast.
Everything we looked, though, once we tried to book it, it would be gone.
While much of the Sunshine State starts to recover,
It's a terrible mess.
now record flooding hitting Jacksonville. Storm surge inundating communities.
We were offered a boat ride from a neighbor.
More than 100 people rescued from fast rising water overnight.
I've been here 47 years, and I've never seen the water this high. Never.
Even in parts of Florida that aren't dealing with flooding and damage, there are long lines for gas, and more than 4 million people here are still without power. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Naples, Florida.
There was a huge line of people at a bookstore in New York hoping to get a glimpse at Hillary Clinton. Last year's Democratic presidential nominee stopped by this Manhattan Barnes & Noble to promote signs of her copies of her new book, What Happened? It was released today. The book takes a closer look at last year's presidential campaign through the eyes of the candidate who got the most votes but lost. Clinton offers a number of explanations to the book and why she believes she lost to the President Trump. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us.